welcome back to Primetime News.
Special welcome to folks on OneSpotMedia.com.
Up first this evening, the results of the latest RGR Gleaner Communications Don Anderson poll have shown mixed reactions to the issues surrounding the recent appointment of an acting Chief Justice.
The poll, which was conducted from February 22 to 26, examined a number of issues relating to the judiciary. TVJ's
Vashon Brown now joins us live with more. Vashon?
Thank you so much, Archie and Doreen. Well, this latest poll examined whether the Prime Minister's decision to appoint an acting Chief Justice trampled on judicial independence. It also looked at the subsequent action of 97 judges and whether the statement issued by the judges after their meeting would have affected their ability to make independent decisions if the matter ended up before the courts. Though Justice Brian Sykes has been officially appointed the country's Chief Justice, some say the question of whether it was constitutional for the Prime Minister to have appointed Justice Sykes to act in the post remains unsolved. Contention over the past few weeks about two constitutional principles, judicial independence and the separation of powers.
The Prime Minister's intention is not to interfere with the independence of the judiciary.
I am convinced now that the only appropriate course that one should take in this matter is to have the courts make a determination.
In this latest RGR Gleaner Communications Group Don Anderson poll, Jamaicans shared their views on whether the Prime Minister's decision to appoint Justice Sykes in an acting role trampled on judicial independence. 3 out of every 10 persons, or 35%, did not think so. At the same time, 3 out of every 10 persons, or 34%, thought the decision trampled on judicial independence. Another 3 out of 10 did not know. The poll has a margin of error of plus or minus 3%. The poll also looked at the profile of respondents who either agreed or disagreed that the action of the Prime Minister to appoint an acting Chief Justice trampled on the independence of the judiciary. So let's first look at the breakdown of that 34% that said the decision to appoint an acting Chief Justice trampled on judicial independence. Close to 4 out of every 10 supported the Jamaica Labour Party. That's 37%. Just over 1 out of every 10 persons, or 14%, supported the People's National Party.
Very interesting data. All right, because in a way, it kind of sort of traverses the political situation. It's unusual for you to find persons who say they would vote a particular party, in this case the JLP, now agreeing with something that was not in the popular decision apparently.
As for the 35% that did not think the Prime Minister's actions trampled on judicial independence, 2 out of every 10, or 21%, supported the Jamaica Labour Party, while close to 3 out of every 10, or 26%, supported the People's National Party.
You know, I'm trying to understand what to make of it in the first place, but it does say that maybe we're able to traverse strict political lines on an issue such as this.
In the meantime, the poll also indicated that most respondents were not in favor of the action by some judges to hold a meeting on the matter on a Monday morning. Almost 5 out of every 10, or 46%, did not agree with the judge's Monday meeting, while 3 out of every 10, or 31%, agreed with the Monday meeting. Another 2 out of every 10 did not know whether they agreed or disagreed. The poll also sought to get views on whether the statement the judges issued later in the day after their meeting would have affected their ability to make independent decisions if the matter ended up before the courts. 3 out of every 10, or 31%, said it would have affected their ability. Almost 5 out of every 10, or 46%, said it would not have affected their ability.
It suggests that perhaps there is just a kind of evenness of consideration across the public on this particular issue of the Chief Justice.
Now, 1,070 people across the island were interviewed for the poll, a nationally representative sample of persons 18 years and older. Now, tomorrow, we will look at how persons responded to questions about the state of emergency. Archie and Doreen, back to you.
Thank you, Vashon. And the Jamaican Bar Association is not yet ready to comment on the official appointment of Brian Sykes as Chief Justice.
The swearing-in took place at a ceremony this morning at King's House. TVJ's Krista Campbell was there.
Clouds of speculation, criticisms, and even threats of legal action provided the backdrop. King's House, the venue, as Brian Patrick St. George Sykes was sworn in as the 8th Chief Justice in post-independent Jamaica. It happened at 9:18 Thursday morning, with government, judicial, and other officials looking on as witnesses. Of note, the attendance of Jacqueline Cummings, president of the Jamaica Bar Association, which threatened legal action amidst concerns surrounding Justice Sykes' acting appointment in early February. Judges had also held a meeting which disrupted court sittings island-wide, taking a stance against what was perceived to be the Prime Minister's attempts to interfere with judiciary independence. Ms. Cummings says she will not respond to Chief Justice Sykes' appointment until after she's updated her members on a meeting with Prime Minister Andrew Holness. But at Thursday's swearing-in ceremony, Prime Minister Holness again insisted,
I have the highest respect and regard for the judiciary, and the executive I lead has no inclination whatsoever to undermine the independence of the judicial branch or even to trespass anywhere near the discretion of the judges. We are interested in a partnership to ensure the efficiency and accountability of the judiciary to the people.
I think Justice Sykes has been universally recognized as a good choice for the position of Chief Justice. We supported his appointment from as far back as January when the Prime Minister first spoke to me. And quite frankly, I think that he should have been confirmed in the post from day one. It was an untidy situation that needn't have arisen. But thankfully, all is now straightened out.
I know Mr. Sykes for the last 30 years. He's a workaholic. He's a disciplinarian. And all the disquiet was really in the minds of the persons who felt the disquiet. He was getting on with the job. With the greatest respect to the media, to my mind, it was more a media creation, but in actual reality, business will go on today.
I am confident that the Honorable Justice Brian Sykes will discharge his functions with honor, integrity, and distinction. I am confident that under his leadership, there will be a transformation of Jamaica's justice system.
I wish to thank God and our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for elevating me by way of the decisions of men to this position of trust and leadership.
And as for the public disquiet surrounding the Chief Justice's acting appointment to begin with, opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips says it is a teachable moment.
It's important to pay attention not only to the laws as written, but to the spirit of the laws and to the behavior of learned men and women who have come before.
Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
The Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Investigation Branch, CTOC, is now investigating an overseas work program which has turned out to be a scam. A number of people turned up at a place in Christiana, Manchester to leave for the program, but they were left stranded. As TVJ's Shamela Mitchell reports, a woman has been arrested in connection with the scam.
An angry crowd gathered at the Christiana police station in Manchester Wednesday morning to voice concerns about an overseas work program that turned out to be a scam. No one wanted to speak on camera except for this lady, Karen Codlin. Miss Codlin says they signed up with a group to get jobs on an overseas work program. They were told to meet at a central point in Christiana on Wednesday, February 28, where a bus would pick them up and take them to the airport. But after hours of waiting, no bus arrived. Several telephone calls were made to the persons who had been organizing the trip, but they were unable to make contact.
All I know is more than 30 people come here this morning. We go from 3 o'clock. We go from Philadelphia. So you understand? Okay. People get here this morning from 2:30. From 2:30, we go acquiring because of the scamming thing. Them thing I need to cut out.
Ms. Codlin says they spent a lot of money on this program. It is believed persons paid sums ranging from $60,000 to almost $150,000 Jamaican dollars. She says some even sold their animals to pay for the trip. But she's blaming the government for allowing this to happen to them as they're all unemployed.
People want job and the Jamaican government ain't doing nothing, so that's why people are here being scammed because of the recklessness of the Jamaican government. People need work, they want farm work card because listen to me, if they had gotten chance to get the farm work card, this thing wouldn't be happening. Reason is them want work, them have foreign, not really say being foreign minded, but they want the opportunity to go to abroad to take care of their family.
Ms. Codlin is calling on the government to intervene. A flyer from the organizers promised jobs as carpenters, plumbers, painters, massage therapists, practical nurses, truck drivers, forklift operators and teachers. Meanwhile, head of Manchester Police Superintendent Wayne Cameron says a detective from the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime (CTOC) investigation branch has taken over the investigation and a woman is in custody. Superintendent Cameron says statements are now being collected from the persons believed to have been scammed. Shamela Mitchell, TVJ News.
Now to another type of scam, a fuss over flour being substituted for cocaine. Police say criminals are using ingenious ways to sell flour to people claiming it's cocaine, and it's causing a series of reprisal attacks throughout Clarendon. Details from TVJ's Kalisha Williams.
Fake taxes, fake news, now it's fake drugs. At least that's what the police say is causing havoc in Clarendon. Criminals were getting crafty by selling flour to people as if it's cocaine. Senior Superintendent of Police Steve McGregor believes the fake cocaine trade has led to a series of reprisal attacks. This as irate customers seek revenge. He pointed out that it is especially popular in the community of Racecourse.
This is causing a lot of disgruntled people to be coming into your area to get back their money or to reprise. And children are on the streets, family members when they are looking for cousins and sons and daughters who are doing this. It can cause major mayhem down here.
Speaking at the opening of a resource center in Racecourse on Wednesday, SSP McGregor condemned the activity. He said the fake drug trade is likely to breed other criminal activities in the area, which is why the people of Racecourse are being warned.
We want to encourage you all to desist from this and those who know to work with the police for us to deal with this.
While championing the impact the resource center will have on community building, he stressed that residents should be more proactive in turning over criminals to the police.
The police cannot do it all by themselves. And when we get this sort of assistance from social agencies and NGO, we are encouraged and we will go on to do the work to ensure that we manage this crime and violence situation. And I'm overly optimistic that we're on the right track.
Kalisha Williams, TVJ News.
A top story this evening, mixed results. The latest RGR Gleaner Communications Group Don Anderson polls on issues surrounding the appointment of an acting Chief Justice. And still ahead, Jamaican track and field athlete accused of recording a woman having sex and fondling her. Massive repair bill, $2 billion to fix major issues at the Cornwall Regional Hospital. And in business news, profits dip at Caribbean Cement. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Continuing the news. A Jamaican track and field athlete at the Lindenwood University in Missouri in the United States is accused of recording a woman having sex and also fondling her. Missouri police say 23-year-old Xavier Boland, a pole vaulter, secretly recorded his roommate and two other people having sex, then threatened to post the videos online after a woman caught him lurking in the bedroom one night. More in this report.
23-year-old Xavier Boland is charged with 3 felony counts of invasion of privacy. He faces up to 4 years in prison for each count if convicted. He's accused of making videos of people having sex without their knowledge or consent.
Most likely we think he was either set up a camera in the room or he filmed from outside the room through a window.
Boland is now in the St. Charles County Jail. His bond set at $1,500. He's a pole vaulter on the school track team, and as far as we know, he's still on the team. The university will not comment on the matter or Boland's status with the track team, citing privacy concerns. Authorities say 8 days ago he made a video of his male roommate having sex with a woman, and when investigators searched his phone, they found another video, this one of another woman and a man they could not identify. The probable cause statement says Boland recorded the videos through the window blinds from outside the residence.
So it's never been easier to introduce technology into intimate relationships, I guess. And so if you're going to choose to play that game, you got to be really careful and understand that there's some pretty big consequences that could be at stake.
I don't think that there's any reason that you should be staying on the team, especially in that kind of situation where it's very sensitive if there's other students involved.
A crime's a crime, so if you're responsible for it, you need to be held accountable.
The probable cause statement says Boland has admitted to making the videos, but he denies an accusation of sexually assaulting one of the female victims in these cases. The prosecutor says further charges regarding that may be forthcoming pending further investigation.
It will cost roughly $2 billion to complete repairs at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in Montego Bay, St. James. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton made the disclosure at the Standing Finance Committee of Parliament meeting, which is being analysing the 2018-2019 budget. TVJ's Andrea Chisholm reports.
About $800 million have been spent to fix issues affecting the Cornwall Regional Hospital, but still, stakeholders complain they're affected by noxious fumes. As the authorities attempt to fix one problem, another surfaces. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says it's challenging, but work continues, getting rid of mold, fixing the ventilation system and the chimney.
In another 2 weeks, we're going to be removing the broiler from underneath the building and shutting down and capping that chimney stack. So as it relates to that as a source of the contamination, that will be out of commission permanently.
The repair bill for the hospital, roughly $2 billion.
Of that amount, between 500 and 600 million accounts for the bulk of the significant expenditure on the HVAC system, the new system. That system has been designed, tenders were issued, it has been closed, and I think a bidder has been selected, if I'm not mistaken, or just about to be. And the UDC, as the agency, is the agency helping us to put that together.
In the meantime, the linear accelerator machine at the St. Joseph's Hospital to treat cancer patients should be commissioned in April. And for the long-awaited cardiac unit at the Bustamante Hospital for Children,
the operating theatre is now active. I think it has done probably about 10-15 heart surgeries so far, and the cath lab should be finished by about May, June.
The 150,000 Jamaicans with kidney problems are also of concern. Some patients receive free dialysis in public healthcare facilities. The health minister says it costs about $45,000 weekly on average for private dialysis 3 times per week.
We are trying to expand the services we offer while promoting the concept of public-private arrangements to try and get cheaper dialysis procedures. We have one such proposal that we're considering now, using Indian technology with a local entity, and we are prepared to facilitate by providing space within our institutions in order to get the price down.
Jamaicans are also reminded to watch what they eat and exercise regularly. Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.
And still at the Standing Finance Committee, there are renewed concerns about the slow pace at which the medical ganja industry is developing. Both government and opposition MPs agree that much more needs to be done in order for Jamaica to benefit from gains being enjoyed overseas. Here's TVJ's Janella Pursues.
While the medical ganja industry is exploding overseas, there's a view that Jamaica, believed to be the envy of the world where ganja is concerned, continues to lag. The Cannabis Licensing Authority, CLA, established in 2015 as a regulator of the industry, has issued 6 licenses for legal operation as at January 2018. In the 2018-2019 estimates of expenditure, $113 million has been allocated to the CLA, with revenue projected projections are set at a mere $5.5 million. When quizzed, Industry, Commerce and Agriculture Minister Carl Samuda, although noting that the allocation was sufficient, said he was not satisfied with the pace at which licenses are approved.
We have had discussions within the ministry, and we have decided that we are going to look seriously at the entire construct of the board itself. It is the view of many that it is too cumbersome and lends itself to unnecessary bureaucracy and delay. And I certainly anticipate that we will see some significant changes this year.
With not much happening in the sector, opposition spokesman on finance and planning Mark Golding highlighted the possible fallout with investors.
As an attorney at law, which I wear, that's another hat I happen to wear, we see a lot of interest from investors in a variety of countries wanting to invest. So they are frustrated often by the way in which the bureaucracy treats with them and their applications and the slow pace at which it is moving.
He's also concerned that export regulations, which were promised last year, are still not in place.
That is critical because everybody who's investing in this wants to be able to take advantage of the world market opportunities that there are, and they're continuing to open up. Germany, for example, which produces none, has now allowed physicians to recommend cannabis, medical cannabis treatment. That's a massive market.
The suggestion was also made that given the refusal of the local banking sector to do business with legitimate ganja industry players, a credit union comprising stakeholders could be established, but the BOJ would have to be on board. Finance Minister Audley Shaw, however, revealed that discussions have begun with the BOJ with the hope of finding solutions to this obstacle.
One of our entrepreneurs in Jamaica has received an unprecedented approval for a cannabis-based drug to treat leukemia, a special strain of leukemia. And this drug is the only drug available to treat that particular condition. Approved, Mr. Chairman, by the Food and Drug Administration of the United States of America. I'm talking about Dr. Henry Lowe. Has gotten that approval,
and I don't think
and yet under the de-risking problems with the banking, the banks want to close down his local cannabis license, cannabis operation because of that same de-risking thing.
Janella Precious, TVJ News.
The Road Safety Unit says it will be ramping up road safety measures in coming weeks as it foresees challenges in meeting its reduction target this year. There has been a reduction in road fatalities so far when compared to the same period in 2017, but the unit says trends in recent traffic crashes are worrying. TVJ's Herman Green reports.
As at February 28 this year, there were 52 fatalities on the nation's roads. That's one less, or a 2% decline when compared to the same period in 2017. But despite the decrease, Director of the Road Safety Unit, Kenute Hare, says data gathered from the Motor Vehicle Event Data Recorder, or black box, at several crashes show one common factor.
We are analyzing the black boxes of motor vehicles involving traffic crashes, and we are finding speeds of up to 110 kilometers per hour, the vehicles, other vehicles that. And that is cause for profound concern.
He says with that and other blatant disregard for traffic laws, the unit sees a major challenge in reaching its target of less than 300 road fatalities for this year. However, plans for a robust education campaign are being fine-tuned to be implemented in a matter of weeks.
We're going to have programs both in print, electronic, and social media. We're going to meet people at their communities. We are going to go to expos. We are going to have a lot of on-the-road activities with the police, which we have been doing. We're just putting some materials together to begin our operations in April across the country, whereby we will be meeting motorists face-to-face, so the police will be stopping people across various corridors, and we will use the opportunity to provide them with quality road safety information.
The program will also include education in schools, which will teach children to not only buckle up, but to call the police and report situations where they are not. He says pedestrians and motorcyclists are the two most problematic groups, as pedestrians tend to cross roadways haphazardly and motorcyclists continue to speed and have not been wearing helmets. Enforcement of the new Road Traffic Act is also expected to play a critical part in the Road Safety Unit's plans for this year.
Fines are for lawbreakers. And you don't have to be a lawbreaker. It's a matter of your choice. You made a choice to violate the laws of the land. You made a choice not to drive properly on the network. So we ask persons to avoid paying these hefty fines, right? Let us have a discussion about practicing proper road etiquette, because you won't be prosecuted if you're not in violation.
Herman Green, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, the Road Safety Unit Director provided an update on the motor vehicle crash in St. Mary, in which 9-year-old Cowain Barton was killed. On Sunday, Cowain and his father were in a motor car traveling along Stennett Street in Port Maria when his father lost control of the vehicle, causing the car to overturn. Cowain died while his father was hospitalized.
The father of that motor vehicle was speeding and they collided with an object, and by collision with that object, his son was thrown out of the vehicle because his son was not wearing seatbelt. Well, the father also wasn't wearing a seatbelt. And those things are cause for concern. We appeal to parents out there and guardians. Ensure that the children are buckled up. Because once persons are thrown out of a motor vehicle, the forces that are acting on the body can be very perilous.
Residents of the Meadows of Irwin in Montego Bay, St. James are calling for the authorities to fix the problem, leaving them without water for the past 2 weeks. TVJ's Lanagay Franklin reports.
Residents of Meadows of Irwin in Montego Bay, St. James are upset as they have been without water for almost 3 weeks now. The Meadows of Irwin housing development is privately owned and water is supplied through the Kankara Development Limited. According to Kankara, the pump which is used to distribute water to the community has been damaged, resulting in homes being without the commodity since February 14. Residents say enough information is not forthcoming from Kankara's CEO, Joseph Lincoln, about when water will return to their community. According to Mr. Lincoln, the pump has been ordered for a week now from overseas, and it will take 4 to 5 weeks before the situation can be rectified permanently.
Only last year we replaced the motor on that pump. So we were told that there was a power cut early that morning. We are still researching to find out why not only the pump went but the motor went. But nevertheless, we were on spot within a couple of days to mobilize O'Daniel to get down here, take out the pump.
The residents say the situation is unbearable and costly.
That's a $1,240 a day. I have to pay for that too little job. I still need more water, and that can't do nothing.
I'm a single mother and I have my child. So think about you leaving urine in your toilet because you can't afford to flush your toilet, and you have to store urine there until once in the morning when you get up. That's when you can afford to flush it, because you have to buy water for $2,000 per week, and that's just half a tank. So if you can't afford it like me, you will only have to buy half or a quarter tank.
Mr. Lincoln says water is being trucked to the community every other day, with 3 truckloads on a Saturday. He says he has instructed his engineers to find a short-term solution to the issue.
Putting in a temporary pump today, hoping that that pump will work, that we can fill up our trucks and take it directly to the tank where normal supply would be restored. It's a very costly way of doing it, but we are trying our best to give the residents water in a normal way.
There are 700 houses in the development. Lanagay Franklin, TVJ News.
And time now for comments from our friends on Facebook and Twitter. And Archie is at the smart board.
Thanks, Lorraine. Here's our question this evening. We're asking what should be the priority areas for Chief Justice Brian Sykes. Here's our first comment. How about ensuring that justice is actually served for certain crimes? Can't be having judges out there handing out pathetic sentences. That way, criminals won't take the justice system seriously. And if he can get rid of some of the corrupt judges while he's at it, that would be great too. Here's our second comment. Simple. Everyone should have equal rights, and justice should be served And the rich should also be law-abiding citizens. Our third comment.